back then, I was a huge, even to this day, I'm not gonna say back then, I was a huge Rick James fan. When I was in the Navy, I had all of his joints. I used to be in the mirror singing his records. I used to be able to do a pretty good Rick James. So I used to sing Mary Jane. I mean, he's the only person that I actually paid to go to his concert. You know what I'm saying? Because back then we used to bum rush concerts. I don't know if they still do that, but we used to come with like 50 guys and bum rush, just rush the door. Maybe they would catch 2 or 3, but the other 30 or the other 30-something guys would get in, and I was always one. We would get in. You know what I mean? I mean the Nassau Coliseum. I remember one time the Nassau Coliseum has these giant plate glass windows going all the way around it. I remember this big buff guy named Sabu picked up a garbage can, just broke one of those shits, and niggas ran through the glass before it could even break all the way. You know what I'm saying? Got shredded. You know, to get in to see Earth, Wind, and Fire, man, it was off the hook back then. I'll never forget the first night I met him. That's the first person that I would say out of all the celebrities that I met that I was starstruck. And I remember we got in a limo, and he started kicking it, and he was mad niggerish, man, which was right up my alley. He was buck wild, you know what I'm saying? He was a regular dude, and he had mad pimping styles, mad pimping skills, man. We went to the restaurant. We was in a real high class, Beverly Hills, upscale, posh, whatever you want to call it. And he came in and was talking to the whitest, blondest, blue-eyedest, most purest American apple pie eating white woman, like this. Come here, bitch. I'm Rick James. Licked the whole side of her face, man.
What'd she do?
She was with it. He boned her after that, man. He boned her after that. It was none of the things you would think would happen if a black man walks up to a white woman and licks the whole side of her face and calls her a bitch. All right?
What other wild stuff you seen him do with women?
Oh, man. I seen him tell women, pull out their titties. You know what I'm saying? I seen him tell women, order women to serve another man, give him a blowjob. I seen him do it all, man. Anything that's part of something you would think a pimp would do, and this wasn't a pimp, this is a rock star. It wasn't no pimp, it was just a straight up player, man. He wasn't trying to, it was like, that's how he was rolling, man, and the women was all with it, man. I got a good friend that broke up with his girl because he took her to one of the concerts and Rick called on stage and threw his tongue down her throat. She was with it. They were supposed to get married, man. You know what I'm saying? He seen his fiance sucking Rick's tongue on stage, Madison Square Garden, man. This shit really took place, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, get back to back then, we started really getting tight because my man was buck wild. He was, and I had started doing things that I wasn't doing before I got out the Navy. Like I was experimenting with the coke and drinking a little bit more, smoking weed. The whole Hollywood scene. I was drawn into all of that, And my brother didn't do any of this shit, so it was whatever was available for Eddie Murphy on the dark side. I got all of it. Because he didn't want any of it. I got all, it was millions of chicks lined up that had a chipped toenail or, something was wrong with them. That's all it took with him, chipped toenail. I don't care how fine she was, man. Toenails chipped. You don't want her? Fine. I was having them, you know what I'm saying? It was all kind of cats wanting to hang out with kilos of blow. He didn't want to do blow. Oh, you don't want to hang out with them? Fine. It was Jamaicans with bales of weed like this. Man, I give you all you want for free. No, just hang out with me, Eddie. He wasn't with it. You don't want the weed? Fine. I was there for all that shit, man. And Rick James was the embodiment of all of that by himself. He had the weed, he had the chicks, he had the drink, he had the location. He's the first person who I went to his house. He had a pool in his living room. All right? It wasn't no separate. It was in his living room. It was a gigantic pool with plants all around it. I bugged out, man, from that whole shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm hanging out. We go up to his house for the weekend and got snowed in. And his house was like, it was one big mansion, then it had connecting joints to it. You know what I'm saying? And each one of the houses was filled up with women. You know, the Mary Jane girls in this one, Val Young in the other one. You know what I'm saying? Then the groupies in the next one, and some more groupies in this one over here. And Processing the do-rags is over there. I mean, it was off the hook. It was around-the-clock food. You understand? He had Linda Hunt coming out with whatever you want at 24 hours a day. I had never been exposed to nothing like that. And that was kind of like my first inside look at my man's whole behavior. And he had this thing with me where he used to always like fuck with me, man. I don't know what started it, but he would fuck with me. Like we went up to the house and we snowed in, and he took it upon himself. I never forget it, to get on the loudspeaker throughout the whole compound and say, if anybody gives Charlie Murphy some pussy, they fired. I don't know what made him do that. You know, I don't even know if there was a discussion with all the chicks, like, you know, I'm getting them first or whatever. But I remember he did that. And he had the security monitor me the whole time I was there. I thought that was weird because everybody else was doing their thing. But for some reason, he didn't want me to have any fun. After that, we kept hanging out. You know, whenever he was in town, we would hang out or whatever. We'd run into each other in L.A. And then, you know, he and I, because of the drug thing, we had it was a separate relationship outside the one that we all had when Eddie was there, because Eddie didn't get high. He used to wake up in the morning and say, why y'all motherfuckers why is everybody so tired? Because we didn't go to sleep yet. And it'd be time to go to work. We would be up all night. We went to Studio 54. And back then, Studio 54, even to this day, I'll say, Studio 54 was the ultimate club, the ultimate. There has never been and never will be nothing that goes beyond that spot. That spot had, you walk in, they had people buck naked with body paint on for their outfit. You know what I'm saying? Now, you be talking to a chick for an hour, and then you realize she's buck naked. You know what I'm saying? You think that she got a dress on that was tight, and you start seeing the hair on the crotch, and this motherfucker's buck naked. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, everything was going on up in there. Up in the balcony, niggas was doing their thing in the balcony, whatever they want, have sex, get high, you then come back downstairs, start dancing, and go to the bar, start drinking, and they had food in there. It was like a come in and do whatever you want and stay till the sun came up spot. So all of the who's who in show business and then in the business world, they was in there. They was buck wild in it. So he handed me the blunt. We lit it up, started smoking it. I guess that's the peace offering or whatever. You know, we smoking the blunt. And then my man just said, yo, do Charlie Murphy. It's like at least 10 women. It was a lot of women on the bed, man. I mean, blonde hair, brunette, afro, cornbread, it was all there. That's a smorgasbord. That's whatever you want, man. That's whatever you like. It was even an Oriental over there. Now, how many black men you know can say they bone Oriental? Holla. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that's rare, man. That's rare in America. That's rare in America. I can proudly say I'm a member of that class, man. You know what I'm saying? That, I went there. And it was, all because of Rick James. That's what turned me on to that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't ashamed to admit it. You know what I'm saying? It was a good time, a good thing. Like I told you, I whipped Rick's ass a minimum of 10 times. That's a minimum. That's a bare minimum. It's been more than that. But I'm only going to tell you a couple of the stories because, Rick is so wild and has went so far off the meter. It's shit that I can't even tell you on TV. I mean, for the sake of our friendship, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to bring it up. But trust me, he's went there. He has went where it's like, yo, Rick, man, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? You done took this shit too far. And his response is like this. There's no such place. Darkness. Let's go to the abyss, nigga! I'm not with it, man. I don't want to go to the abyss, man. You know what I'm saying? Rick wants to go to the abyss. In fact, he dwells in the abyss. Rick James dwells in the abyss, okay? And he wants company sometimes, you know? And for some reason, he likes to reach out for me. Whenever I'm around, when he wants to go there, he will reach out for me to try to take me to the abyss with him. And I'm not with it, man. I'm not with it. And that's when we end up, you know, tussling or whatever, you know what I'm saying? What I really think is that, you know, Rick would be so fucking high when he was doing a lot of these things that when he received these beatdowns, he probably don't even remember getting them. That's the only thing I could come up with. For you to keep doing the same thing, get an ass whipping, come back, go there again, get another ass whipping. But the one thing that you had in common in all of those ass whippings was you was fucked up. That kind of tells me you don't remember getting the ass whipping. He probably would wake up the next morning and be like, damn, I must have ran a marathon yesterday. I was in a marathon, where's my sneakers at? You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I can think of, man. Damn, my jaw's hurting. I must have went to the dentist yesterday. You know what I'm saying? He would wake up and totally forget that he got his ass whipping. I mean, you know, most men, we have egos, and the ass whipping is kind of hard to accept. So he probably was in denial and, you know, blacked it out and came up with his own excuse for his soreness the following day. The reason he was going to a chiropractor or whatever, you know, I must have fell off a horse. So my back is hurting. But that's from when the foot was up your ass, nigga. You didn't fall off no horse. You know what I'm saying? But he would come up with his own shit.
He was riding horses with Eddie and Trevor.
Yeah, I'm hearing doctors was riding horses yesterday. I was a slip of disc. He had forgot when darkness was like this. Fire! You know what I'm saying? Let me not forget that, you know, Rick James was very mad. He remembered that ass whipping because he wanted revenge. He called back. It ain't over, motherfuckers. And you know how he tried to set it up the first time? Because he really wanted to get me, you know what I'm saying? He felt that, you know, I was the main one that was pommeling his legs, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, this is what he did, man. He challenged us. He said not a challenge, he said he was coming over to play some ball, right? So that particular day, I wasn't there, but this is how I know it was all about him getting me. He brings over the guy with the crooked eye and all of them to play ball, and they all got sneakers on, but Rick got on cowboy boots, right? As soon as the game started, he just kicked my man Fruity in the balls. That was the end of the game. That was the end of the game, man. So who you think he was gonna kick in the balls that day? Ball check, fire! Kick Fruity in the balls and get back in the limo and drive back to Buffalo? You came all the way from Buffalo to New Jersey. I whipped your ass about 8 days ago. That was for me, but I wasn't there that day, so Fruity, he had to take one to the nuts, man. And you know what? I know he probably went home and felt that he was victorious that day, but the reality of the whole thing is Fruity has 2 children today, so you weren't that victorious, okay? Still friends, man.
How are you still friends with him?
We still see each other on a regular. Whenever I go to California, you know, Rick James is like a family friend. He knows my moms, he knows my brother, he knew my pops before he passed. He knows my kids. I know a couple of his kids. I know his sister. I know his brother. I met his mother before she passed. I know, you know, we know each other, man. This is just some kooky shit that went on in the 80s that looking back on it, it was insanity when it was happening, man. But it was just normal. It was the 80s. It was the time, you know. It just happened, and you know, and now I can look back on it, and it's funny as hell. So why not talk about it? You know what I'm saying? Why not let somebody else laugh? Because I laugh when I think about this shit, because the shit was funny, and it was, you know, it was insanity, and you know, hey, it happened. And for some reason, he likes to reach out for me. Whenever I'm around, when he wants to go there, he will reach out for me to try to take me to the abyss with him. And I'm not with it, man. I'm not with it. And that's when we end up, tussling or whatever. You know what I'm saying? All right. Over the years, my brother has had like some real interesting characters that work for him and shit. We had Big Larry, we had Fruity, we had Bop. One of the most outstanding characters, I ain't gonna say his real name, I'll just say his name was, I don't know, let's say his name was Jupiter. I don't know. Let's say his name was Daryl, right? He was a short cat, and he knew my brother from way back. They grew up together and they were real tight. And he used to work for my brother when it was up at Saturday Night Live. And Dick Ebersol he really liked this guy because he was real smart, and he had a scholarship to Colgate University as well as Stanford, and he could have went to either school, but he decided he didn't want to go, and because he was kind of like the black John Belushi, but he wasn't famous. I mean, he was off the hook, you know what I'm saying, with the drinking and the getting high and everything. And what ended up happening with this guy is he became, drinking can make you obnoxious, you know what I'm saying? So one night we was in LA, we went to this club, not a club, but a restaurant called La Familia. Dean Martin used to eat in there. I actually seen the real Dean Martin. He's sitting at his table, he's eating his spaghetti or whatever, And we're over here and chilling, we eating out, whatever, waiting for our stuff. And then, then Daryl walks in. Then Daryl walks in and he's real drunk. And when he came in, he looked at the whole table and he was, how they get like this, like in Scarface. So start good night to the bad guy. He was just like that, man. He came in and we was all at the table and he went down the line and there was Artel Neville. Remember Artel Neville from E? She was there and she was talking to my brother. And he goes down the line insulting everybody at the table. He tells, like it was me, my cousin Ray, Big Fruity, Larry, this guy named Dougie, my brother, and Artel Neville. And he goes to each guy and says how he would whip that person's ass and knock them out, and I'll slap you, Charlie, I'll knock you out, and Ray, I'll whip the shit out of you, and Larry, I'll hit you with a gut punch, and blah, blah, blah. Charlie, I'll knock you the fuck out, bitch. And you, Ray, you may be big. I'll beat the shit out of you. Faggot. Fuck all of you. Big Larry. Hit you with a fucking gut punch. In your fucking big stomach. Greedy motherfucker. I mean, he was being real offensive, man. And when somebody tell me they're gonna knock me out, man, it's real hard not to respond at this, on the spot. I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad my brother Vernon wasn't there, because I'm telling you, he would have tore his clothes off right there. He stripped him, dragged him out. You know what I'm saying? But we all had restraint. He went down the line. He said something to Artel that was, I'm not even gonna repeat what he said to her. It was off the hook. He went over the line with her. He said something to my brother. In fact, I know what he said. He called it, because, even though Daryl. Because Daryl, even though he's black, he insults like a white man. And one of his favorite insults, he could say this like nobody else. He's, you fucking moron, fuck you, right? Called my brother a moron, yo. I've never been called a moron by anyone in my life but him. You know what I'm saying? The way he would say it it would really make you angry. You know, especially, you know, he had a way of doing it, man. That's all I can say. And he would call anybody that. He'd call my brother that. He'd call me that. He called his brother. That was his bread and butter, his 1-2 punch, moron. All right? I remember one night we was in his club, right? L.A. We come out the club, and this guy had set up a barbecue pit right in front of the door. We walk out the club. The barbecue smell hits you. You just come out the club dancing and all that. You with it, because you ain't thinking about barbecue at 3 in the morning, but that shit was smelling good, right? We get in line. As we get to the front of the line, I look on the grill. There's 2 guys in front of us, and there's 3 sausages on the grill. The guy behind us was a gangbanger. He had colors on and the whole shit. He was with like 4 other cats. He looks on the grill, and he counts how many sausages is on there. So he knew that once we get up there, it's gonna be no more. So he starts going through the whole gangbanger. You cook, fuck that shit, cook. Look here, knuckle. Let's get my squab on, cuz. I'm hungry, knuckles. Gonna get that sausage, cuz. And I was like, yo, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not trying to get shot with no AK-47 over Frank. You know what I mean? Turns around and goes, fuck you, you fucking moron. And I seen the wheels turning in this cat's head. He said, moron? What's a moron, cuz? Luckily, none of them knew what a moron was, man. Or I wouldn't be telling you the story. On that, I was like, look, we got credit cards, we got money, and I'm not getting, let's go. I had to drag him off the line. He was gonna challenge some gangbangers, man, over Frank, man. It ain't worth it. He was off the hook with his shit, man, with his insults, you know? And the way he would say moron, yeah, you fucking moron. Fuck you, pal. It was like pouring acid on you, man. He had a talent with that, man. So we all get up, we go to the car, and he comes out. And we're like, yo, hey, we're going to the Beverly Center to get him to think that that's where we're going. So we get in the car, we go straight back to the house. Get to the house, and all the way there, everybody's like talking about what just finished happening. Like, yo, man, this guy really, he's lucky that he knew us as long as he knew us, because, man, anybody else would have did what he just did, man. They would have got, I'm telling you, they would have got done. We go in the house, and everybody's going in different directions. So I'm in the kitchen, and there was this guy named Roughhouse. All these characters that had these funny names and shit that worked for my brother. There was this guy named Roughhouse. He had a girl like this. He looked like a bulldog. He was a big fat motherfucker. Now he works for He's still doing security. He needs to stop. He's almost 60. He can't fight. All right? And I want everybody out there to know that has fake security. All right? Okay? His security is the guy. He has 1 foot in the wheelchair. Trust me. Anyway, Roughhouse is sitting there, and Roughhouse used to like to fuck with me too. We used to have this like playing the dozens or whatever you want to call it. And you try to say something funny about me, and I try to say something funny about him. And we walk in the room, and Roughhouse is now teasing me because Daryl told me he was gonna knock me out. Yeah, Charlie, that little motherfucker said he's gonna knock you the fuck out, Charlie. Right? And I'm like, yo, whatever, man. But I tell you what, if I ain't know him, I'm telling you, man, on the serious side, I was getting ready. That really was hard for me not to get up and drill him right there, man. But as I'm saying this, I feel 2 hands grip on the side of my face like this, and then I hear, you fucking moron. And it was him, man. He had my head like this, and he tried to slam it onto it was like a nook that I was standing next to. It was marble. He tried to slam my head on there. So when I heard his voice, my head was going. I was able to power out of it because he didn't have good leverage. He was pulling from, he was short. But I got real mad, man. That, you already disrespecting me in public. Now I don't know how you got in the house. You're in the house, and you're grabbing my head, and you're trying to slam it on. So I started beating on him at that point. So he was like in front of me. I was going to the body. Boom, 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 warming up his ribs. And he didn't want to hit. He didn't want no more. So he grabbed my hands and was trying to hold my hands. And I was struggling to try to, to get loose. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know about circular motion back then. I was trying to get loose. And my hand, he started losing his grip and he grabbed my sweater. And he held on to my sweater while I was trying to punch. And he stretched the sleeve. When he let go, the sleeve was touching the ground. I was standing up, and the sleeve of my sweater, this is a $500 sweater, man. This is back in 90-something. But, $500 sweater to me, hey, man, you just fucked up some nice shit. I don't got a lot of $500 sweaters. Shit was down to the ground. And I look at the sweater on the ground, and I hear Rough House go, look at your arms, you look like a clown. And it just infuriated me, man. So I pulled up my shit, bunched it up. As soon as my fist popped out, and as I popped my fist out, Daryl. Daryl added more fuel by looking me dead in the eye and saying, "Fuck you, pal." Man, boy, whew, I had dynamite. I put it on his chin. What? And he slid across the floor like this. And skidded to a halt. He was knocked out cold, man. His jaw was cracked. He's knocked out cold. So all my rage was in that punch. He was laying on the ground. He was sprawled out. And then Randy gets up and starts, trying to wake him up. And I'm like, I don't want to really, I'm thinking about stomping him. But I'm like, you know what? I know his mother, man. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't stomp, because he was there to be stomped. With no resistance. But I said, I know his mother. So I went upstairs, and I was in the room, and I was like, wow, I can't believe what just happened, Because that was like almost like beating up your cousin or somebody that you knew for a long time, you know what I'm saying? So that was kind of fucking with me, right? And then, I was in a room that had a patio and had a big door, and the door was open. And I'm standing there, I'm like, damn, I can't believe what I just did, man. Wow, man, I lost it. And I heard something outside the window go, "It's not fucking over. I want more. Come out, you fucking pussy. I want more." And I realized that this nigga's outside, man. He wants more, right? And then my brother came in the room, and I looked at my brother, and we stood there for about maybe 3 minutes, but we kept hearing like a cat whining outside the window. "You punch like a bitch. I want more. I want more. I want more." Finally, I was like, all that shit about knowing your moms and all that shit was out the window, man. My brother looked at me, he's like, "Yo, go finish him off." I was like, "No problem." I went downstairs, boy. I went to work on this midget. The nigga's not there. He had a Napoleon complex, man. You know what I'm saying? And, I'm going to tell you like this. I don't got no problem with beating up any motherfucker. I don't care how, because you might be saying, oh, he beat up a little nigga. I beat up big niggas too, all right? You know what I'm saying? So don't get it twisted. This, big niggas don't usually just want to just do the stupid shit, though. You know what I'm saying? It's always a clown. This nigga's about this high. He had a Napoleon complex. And me and him used to roll. We would go to a bar, and he would find the biggest nigga in the club and steal on him. And then me and him got to do the nigga up. You know what I'm saying? That's why I stopped going out with him, because he had a Napoleon complex. But anyway, so I go downstairs. I put a wreck on him. It was bad, man. So after I put this wreck on him, he's out, he's laid out. I'm like, I'm going back upstairs. You know what I'm saying? They wake him up, and and the cats just taking him to take him off the property. I think at the time I was about $170 or whatever. These cats was like $250, $270. They was big. And my man, they took him to the car. They was like, "Get in the car, man." And he just looked at all three of them. He said, "Fuck you, pal!" Whop, whop, whop. And did a combo, triple fired on 3 giants. You ever used to read Beetle Bailey? Like when the stars used to fuck him up, and he would be like, look like dirty laundry, like just balled up, like a bag of laundry. That's when they finish beating him, he like a bag of dirty laundry, man. Like just, you just think he's ready to go be washed. And they picked him up, they threw him in the car, he was all busted up, and they drove down the hill. Now this motherfucker had took, because when I had him, I'm telling you, I took the boy to the brick oven, I made pizza with his face. I demolished it. And then when they got on him, they put the crust on him. They fucked him up, man. He was fucked up bad. They take him down to the gate, threw him in the bushes, right? Told him to get the fuck out of here. You think, okay, it's all over with. They get back up to the house. We sit in the kitchen and then we start hearing boom, 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 boom. And they had a monitor, right? So we look at the monitor, his face was, it like somebody had a Halloween mask on, pushing it on the camera. And it was him, and he was going, come out, and much more. Boom, 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 boom. You're a bunch of pussies in there you can't punch. What's the matter? You're afraid to come out? Come out and play! Boom, boom. Yo, man, this went on for like 45 minutes, man. And then, to take it to the Twilight Zone, a limo pulls up. Now, the night before that, I ran the Blade Barkley. He used to be the middleweight champion. He lost his title to James Lights Out Tony. And he took a tremendous beating, tremendous. You know what I'm saying? And his face was, I mean, his face was bad, man. You know, he looked like he required surgery. You know, and the weird shit about it was, you would think that somebody whose face was like that and got it whipped like that would go to the hospital and stay for at least a month or whatever. But he went to a comedian's house. Maybe he had lost his mind or whatever. He was crazy. Cause you supposed to go to the hospital, you go to Eddie Murphy's house. He came straight from his ass whipping, flew from Vegas to Eddie's house. We didn't even know him that good. We didn't know, it wasn't like he was in our family, dog. You know what I'm saying? We knew him like, see the club, yo, the Blade, what's up, man? And then you get whipped out and you come straight to us. So we didn't know what to say to the brother, you know what I'm saying? But he came over, his face was fucked up. All we could say is, damn, you know, you want a drink? You know, because I know in the cowboy movies, you know what I'm saying, they give you something to drink, pull a tooth or whatever. His face, maybe it could ease the pain, give him some whiskey. You know what I'm saying? So we offered him a drink. But I'll never forget what he said, man. My man came, he was like, yo, as bad as my face is, man, whoever that cat at the gate is, his face made my face feel better. I feel better, man. He wanted to go to the club after that. He didn't think his face was that bad. He drove in, he seen Daryl. He was like, damn, what the fuck happened to him? Daryl was like this. Fucking bitches. Then you can fight, you fucking moron. Boom, 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 boom. Till 5-0 came and got him, man. 5-0 had to handle that. They had to, you know, because it was either call the cops or kill him. You know, we didn't want to go there. We know his mama, you know what I'm saying? So 5-0 handled him. They took him out of there, man.
All right, let's go. All right, cut.